Welcome to Strong Male Figure. There are two kinds of pain that shape a man forever: death and betrayal. Death is cruel, but it is honest. It ends a chapter. You grieve, you accept, and in time, the ache turns into remembrance. Betrayal, however, pretends to love you while quietly sharpening the knife. It smiles, listens, and waits. When it strikes, it kills not the body, but the meaning you attach to trust, loyalty, and connection. That's why betrayal often hurts more than death. Death takes away someone you love. Betrayal takes away the belief that you were ever loved at all. Why betrayal cuts deeper. When someone dies, you know where to place your sorrow: on nature, on fate, on the inevitable cycle of life. But betrayal has no altar. It leaves you asking endless questions. How long was the lie alive? What was real? Who was I to them? Seneca wrote, "An unexpected blow is the most dangerous. Death announces itself through age, illness, distance. Betrayal arrives laughing at your table. When the Romans lost a friend to death, they built a tomb. When they lost a friend to betrayal, they built philosophy." The shock of broken trust. Trust is invisible architecture. Every shared secret, every favor, every conversation stacks another stone. You walk across that bridge every day, until one morning it collapses under your feet, and the one who helped you build it is the one who pulled the pins. Your mind replays moments obsessively: the dinners, the laughter, the promises. Each memory now feels poisoned. That's why the pain lingers longer than grief, because death ends memories, but betrayal rewrites them. Marcus Aurelius faced this constantly. He wrote, "When you wake, remember you will meet the deceitful and the ungrateful." He wasn't cynical. He was preparing his heart not to be shattered each time faith failed. Betrayal and the ego. Death attacks the heart. Betrayal attacks the ego, the story you told yourself about who you are. If a loved one dies, you suffer because you miss them. If a loved one betrays you, you suffer because you question your own judgment. The Stoics saw ego as the first wound in every tragedy. Epictetus said, "What upsets people is not things themselves, but their judgments about them." You expected loyalty, permanence, gratitude. When reality defies those expectations, pain rushes in through the cracks of illusion. Betrayal humiliates the ego because it proves you misread another human soul. It exposes how little control you truly have over hearts and motives. That realization feels like dying while still alive. The silent aftermath. After betrayal, life goes on, outside, emails, traffic, obligations, but inside, silence. You question everyone. Even genuine kindness triggers suspicion. You replay conversations, trying to locate the first lie, like an archaeologist digging through ruins. In death, you cry. In betrayal, you go numb. And numbness is heavier than grief, because grief moves, betrayal freezes. Seneca once wrote to a grieving friend, "The sorrow which can speak is slight. The sorrow that cannot find words, that's betrayal." When the betrayer lives on. What makes betrayal crueler than death is that the betrayer keeps living. You see them laugh, post, thrive. A dead friend becomes memory. A living traitor becomes a mirror that keeps mocking you. The Stoic would say there is the event and then the opinion about the event. But in moments like these, even the wise bleed. Marcus lost friends to treachery in the Senate. He chose not to hate them, but he did not pretend it didn't sting. He wrote, "If a man wrongs you, it is because he believes it right. Teach him if you can. Bear him if you must." Bearing without bitterness, that is the art. Modern faces of ancient betrayal. Betrayal is no longer the dagger in Caesar's back. It's the leaked message, the silent block, the partner who switches sides when the spotlight moves. The tools changed, but the essence stayed. Trust broken for self-gain. In business, it's a partner who copies your plan and calls it his. In friendship, it's the confidant who tells your secret to seem important. In love, it's the person who promised forever, but left when devotion required discipline. Each act says the same sentence in a different accent. My comfort is worth more than your trust. Why betrayal feels like spiritual death. The human soul is wired for connection. When betrayed, that wiring short-circuits. You no longer know where safety lives. Every new person becomes a potential threat, every conversation a calculation. It isn't paranoia, it's the soul's attempt to protect itself after being burned by the hand it once held. Death removes someone from your world. Betrayal removes the world itself from your sense of meaning. That is why men crumble under betrayal more than bereavement. Death reminds you of mortality. Betrayal makes you doubt reality. The Stoic perspective begins. The Stoics never denied pain. They purified it. They taught that pain reveals the truth of attachment. We suffer not because things happen, but because we expected them to happen differently. When betrayal hits, the Stoic asks, what part of this is under my control? What judgment of mine is exaggerating the wound? What virtue can I practice here? Patience, justice, courage, self-control. He doesn't minimize pain, he directs it. Seneca's Letter 105 says, fire tests gold, adversity tests brave men. Betrayal, then, is your furnace. You either melt or are purified. The turning point. Eventually, every man faces a choice. Remain prisoner to the injustice or rise into mastery of self. The Stoic path begins the moment you say, I cannot control the betrayer, but I can control my becoming. At first it feels impossible. The mind demands apology, closure, revenge. But Stoicism whispers, you owe yourself peace, not proof. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. When you stop mirroring betrayal with bitterness, you reclaim your dignity. Perfect. Here's part 2 of your long-form Stoic script. When you're ready, just say continue, and I'll send the final section, part 3, rebuilding strength, healing, and Stoic renewal. The Stoic analysis, how betrayal transforms the soul. The Stoics believed pain is a forge. It cannot choose what enters the fire, but it decides what leaves it. Betrayal is that moment when the flames rise too close, and you must decide, will I become ashes, or will I become iron? 1. The anatomy of the wound. When a friend or partner betrays you, 3 parts of your being are struck at once. 1. The mind, assaulted by disbelief. 2. The heart, torn between anger and longing. 3. The spirit, tempted to abandon faith in goodness itself. A Stoic sees these not as separate, but as layers of one truth. The self was built on expectation. You expected loyalty because you were loyal. You expected honesty because you were honest. When the mirror shatters, you bleed on the pieces. Epictetus would call this the error of attachment, mistaking the borrowed for the owned. We never own another's virtue, we only witness it for a season. 2. Why betrayal feels like injustice. Humans crave fairness. It's written into our nervous system. When wronged, adrenaline rises as if we've been physically attacked. That's why the betrayed shake, shout, or fall silent. The body thinks it's fighting for survival. But Stoicism asks, survival of what? The body is fine. It's the story that's dying. The story that you were safe, chosen, understood. Marcus Aurelius instructed himself, erase the impression. Say to it, you are only an appearance, not the thing you claim to be. Your job after betrayal is to separate the appearance from reality. The appearance, I was destroyed. The reality, I was disappointed, and I am still alive. The temptation of bitterness. Bitterness feels powerful. It says, I will never be fooled again. But bitterness also bars the gate to wisdom. It doesn't protect you, it freezes you at the moment of injury. Seneca warned, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provoked it. In modern terms, the wound heals slower when you keep touching it. To be stoic is not to be numb. It is to feel everything, but remain free from being ruled by it. You can cry and still be disciplined. You can forgive and still remember. 4. Lessons hidden inside betrayal. Every betrayal hides 3 silent gifts. Gift 1, discernment. You begin to see beyond charm, words, and promises. You recognize consistency as the real language of loyalty. Gift 2, detachment. You learn that love given freely is noble, but love clung to is weakness. You can wish the betrayer peace without reopening the gate. Gift 3, purpose. Many men build their greatest work after betrayal because pain clears distractions. Energy once wasted on pleasing others becomes fuel for creation. The Stoics didn't run from pain, they redirected it. 5. Transforming pain into practice. Epictetus trained his students daily with this question: what can you control right now? Apply it to betrayal. You cannot control why they did it. You cannot control whether they regret it. You can control how long you keep rehearsing it in your mind. The practice. Each time the image returns, breathe and say, that belongs to fate, not to me. It sounds simple. It is warfare. Every repetition strengthens the muscle of peace. 6. The Stoic logic of forgiveness. Forgiveness in Stoicism is not sentimental. It's strategic. You release resentment not because the betrayer deserves mercy, but because you deserve rest. Marcus wrote, the wrongdoer does wrong to himself. The unjust man makes himself unjust. To forgive is to return responsibility to its owner. You stop carrying another man's corruption in your bloodstream. Think of it like poison. If you keep replaying his act, you keep sipping from the cup. Forgiveness is dropping it once and for all. 7. Facing the fear of trusting again. After betrayal, men often swear vows of isolation. Never again. But total withdrawal is cowardice disguised as wisdom. The Stoic path is courageous vulnerability, open eyes, guarded heart. Epictetus said, when you have learned what is within your power, you may walk safely among men. Trust becomes a conscious choice, not a naive habit. In modern life, verify before you confide. Test before you rely. Observe patterns, not apologies. Respect, like trust, should be earned in seasons, not seconds. 8. When betrayal comes from family. This is the deepest cut. You can detach from colleagues and even lovers, but blood carries history. The Stoics knew this pain well. Seneca's own family plotted against him in politics. He replied not with rage, but with perspective. Misfortune is virtue's opportunity. To you, the lesson is endurance without hatred. You can choose duty without enabling abuse. Boundaries are not rebellion, they are self-respect. When you no longer need everyone to understand you, you become unbreakable. 9. Modern chaos and the Stoic mind. We live in an age of betrayal by distraction. Friends betray by neglect, leaders by corruption, partners by convenience. The more digital the world becomes, the cheaper loyalty feels. That's why Stoicism matters more now than ever. It trains men to be the rare constant in a culture of instability, to command respect not through fear, but through calm self-possession. When betrayal erupts around you, people will study your face. If they see steadiness, they will follow. If they see panic, they will scatter. The Stoic commands chaos by commanding his expression first. 10. Once you know the texture of false loyalty, you value authenticity. You stop searching for perfect friends and start building honest ones. Marcus Aurelius kept a circle of advisors he trusted completely, men tested by hardship. He didn't seek charm, he sought integrity. Do the same. Your next circle should be smaller but stronger. Loyalty verified in storms is loyalty that will last through years. Excellent. Here's part 3, the final and longest section. It completes your 30,000-character Stoic long-form script for strong male figure. When betrayal hurts more than death of a loved one, Stoicism. Part 3. Rebuilding strength, healing, and the Stoic renewal. The deepest purpose of Stoicism is not suppression, it is transformation. You are not asked to stop feeling. You are asked to feel with understanding. Betrayal is proof that you are human. Stoic recovery is proof that you are divine in potential. When a man rises after treachery, his eyes change. They no longer seek safety, they seek truth. And truth, once found, replaces every comfort that was lost. 1. The moment after the collapse. There comes a day when the shock fades. You wake, breathe, and realize the world kept turning. The phone still rings, the city still hums, the sky still bleeds light through the blinds. That morning is your rebirth. You can keep dragging the corpse of betrayal with you, or you can bury it with ceremony and walk lighter. Marcus Aurelius said, "When the truth stands before you, let it stand. Do not add to it." The truth is simple. It happened. Adding why and how could they only chains you to ghosts. Perform a small ritual of closure. Write, burn, delete, or speak into the wind. Let the act mark the end of one chapter, not the end of you. 2. Reclaiming ownership of the mind. Epictetus divided life into 2 realms. What is within our control, and to reclaim sovereignty, start micro. Control your mornings, rise before the noise. Control your attention, Limit gossip, speculation, rereading old messages. Control your body. Exercise until fatigue cleanses resentment. Each controlled act is a stone in the wall that guards your sanity. Discipline rebuilds faster than analysis ever could. 3. The philosophy of distance. Seneca advised, associate with those who may improve you, and welcome those whom you may improve. Distance is not hatred, it is hygiene. You do not exile people because they failed. You step back to prevent contagion of their weakness. In modern life, distance looks like fewer explanations, more silence. Fewer open doors, more intentional invitations. Fewer social reflexes, more chosen engagements. The world reads distance as pride. The Stoic reads it as self-command. 4. Channeling pain into creation. All the energy once spent maintaining false peace is now free. Do not waste it scrolling, drinking, or plotting revenge. Build. History's creators often began with betrayal. Marcus Tullius Cicero, exiled by those he served, wrote the works that preserved Roman oratory. Epictetus, betrayed by a cruel master, forged the philosophy of freedom. You, betrayed by someone you trusted, can build the next era of your life from clarity rather than illusion. Pain is energy without direction. Give it purpose, and it becomes genius. 5. The practice of equanimity. Every evening review the day as Marcus did. What did I master? What mastered me? If resentment answered, meet it again tomorrow with calm. Repetition is redemption. Stoic strength is not built in grand gestures, but in the quiet refusal to break each morning. Meditate not to escape thought, but to watch it without obedience. The moment you can observe your anger without acting from it, you have won the invisible war. 6. Rebuilding trust. Trust is not a door that reopens. It's a house you rebuild brick by brick. Test foundations before walls. Begin with small risks. Share a thought, a task, a secret of low consequence. If it's held faithfully, share a heavier one. In time, trust regains muscle. The Stoics would remind you, you cannot demand virtue from another. You can only demonstrate it. Be trustworthy yourself. Example magnetizes integrity around you. 7. Forgiveness as liberation. Forgiveness is often mistaken for permission. In truth, it is release. You free yourself from the duty of hatred. Hatred ties you to the betrayer like iron shackles. Forgiveness dissolves the chain. Repeat Marcus's line until it becomes muscle memory. The best revenge is to be unlike the wrongdoer. The betrayer must live with his act. Your only responsibility is to live with grace. 8. Turning memory into wisdom. Betrayal will visit your dreams. You'll hear the same voice, smell the same room. Do not curse the memory, study it. Every revisit is another chance to practice detachment. Eventually, the image returns like a harmless photograph, flat, powerless, part of your museum, not your wound. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more who suffers before it is necessary." Let the past be past. Suffering on replay is self-inflicted. 9. Building the Stoic presence. After betrayal, a certain gravity surrounds you. You no longer chase validation. You emanate calm. People notice. They respect without understanding why. That is Stoic presence, quiet authority, born from endured storms. You have proven to yourself that peace is not dependent on others. Now your silence carries the weight of 10 speeches. In business, this presence wins negotiations. In relationships, it attracts depth. In solitude, it feels like peace rather than punishment. 10. The return of faith. Faith, whether in God, nature, or reason, dies easily after betrayal. You ask, if the world is governed by order, why did this happen? The Stoic answer, because order includes the test. A world without betrayal would also be a world without free will. Freedom means risk, and virtue means using freedom rightly. Therefore, the betrayal did not break the law of the universe. It confirmed it. Everything fragile will eventually reveal its weakness. Your task is to build what cannot fracture, your character. 11. Legacy thinking. The greatest revenge is not survival, but evolution. What story will men tell of you? That you were broken and bitter, or that you rose and built? Write your legacy deliberately. Your children, your students, your viewers will one day face betrayal too. Let your calm become their manual. Marcus Aurelius's writings were never meant for publication. They were private meditations. Yet centuries later, they strengthen millions. Your healing could do the same for someone unseen. 12. A short manual for the betrayed. 1. Do not react immediately. Time reveals the full map. 2. Speak less, observe more. Emotion is a poor lawyer. 3. Detach from explanation. Understanding the motive won't heal the wound. 4. Master routine. Regularity rebuilds identity. 5. Keep a journal. The mind heals by naming. 6. Stay fit. Physical resilience reinforces moral strength. 7. Find silence daily. Noise feeds resentment. 8. Plan the next decade. Purpose erases pettiness. Follow these not as rules but as rituals. Each is a small resurrection. 13. From the Stoic heart. Imagine sitting beside Marcus Aurelius at dawn. He would tell you softly, "Men will deceive you, as they deceived me. But never let another's deceit make you unworthy of your own soul." You nod, rise, and walk into the day, not armored in cynicism, but clothed in composure. The world will still lie. You simply will not. 14. The final perspective. Betrayal feels worse than death because it kills the illusion of safety. Yet illusions must die for truth to live. Perhaps betrayal is a strange mercy, the fire that burns away falsehood so that only the pure remain. Seneca would smile at this paradox. The one who hurt you became your unwilling teacher. You paid dearly, but you bought wisdom that cannot be taken again. When you finally thank the pain for the lesson, not the loss, you have mastered life's hardest subject. 15. Closing reflection. Stand before a mirror tonight. Look into your own eyes until the tremble fades. Tell yourself, "I have lost illusions, not worth. I have been wounded, not destroyed. I still believe in virtue." Then walk away in silence, the silence of a man who has seen the depths and chosen light anyway. Because in the Stoic world, greatness is not the absence of betrayal. It is the calm endurance that follows it. This is strong male figure. Stay disciplined, stay unbreakable.